Okay, it's going to be long-winded. Hopefully I can get all this done before I get interrupted. Whew. As of filming about 2 weeks ago, I had one of them nights where I can't sleep. I suffer from insomnia. I've been fighting insomnia since I was 13, 14. Late years junior high and throughout high school. I mean, my best friend in high school will tell you there was many a mornings, especially our senior, I'd come in and it looked like I had slept in 2 or 3 days and sit down in first period and you're like, you all right? Yeah, man, I slept like 2 hours last night. Oh, that sucks. No, that's the first time I slept in 2 days. What? And this dude always had candy. He'd hook me like, here's some candy. Get some sugar in. Yeah, I think that's when I became such a caffeine person. I don't like coffee, but I love me some caffeine. Well, couldn't sleep, so I was, all right, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to grab one of these unread trades off my shelf. By unread, I mean I have not read that trade, not what's in that trade. I've read a lot of the trades I got on my shelf. I've read that stuff in issue 4, or scans or whatever. And I'm going to go sit out in my kitchen. My kitchen's brightly lit. My bedroom's kind of dark and dreary. My kitchen's brightly lit. Put on some music and just do like I used to do as a kid when I couldn't sleep. I'd go sit in my kitchen, put on some music, and read some comics. But back then it was issues, and the music was off of CDs or cassettes, or maybe a record. Usually CDs or cassettes, because I could bring y'all remember them big ass boombox? I had one of those, like a shelf stereo boombox, and you had to put like 10 D batteries in it to power for 40 minutes, but it had like a 10 disc CD changer, all this shit. I bring it out in the kitchen. So I come out in the kitchen, I sit over down, I start reading. I grabbed Solid Swamp Thing Book 1. This is Alan Moore, Steve Bissett, John Totleben, and others. And this one is the only one of these. No, 2 of mine are, okay. There's 6 volumes of this. I need volume 6. I've not read 5 or 6 yet. What this does, it starts with issue 20, and goes through 20 through 27 of Alan Moore's run on Solid Swamp Thing. Now, here's the thing. I got into Swamp Thing. They brought the title back about the time that movie was coming out. I went and saw the movie and loved it. I got into the comic. I was picking it up pretty much every month. So I read these issues in 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. But you got to think about this. In 83, I was not even 10 yet. So a lot of this stuff went over my head, and I've read these issues again since then, but not in any kind of order. Because for some reason, they have value. These Swamp Thing issues by Moore, you can find, pretty good shape, sometimes mid shape, copies in cheap bins. I got plenty of them I picked up. Let's get into it. Let's see what the back says first. Glasses. We got our little blurbs. There's a red and angry world. Red things happen there. The world eats your wife, eats your friends, eats all the things that make you human, and you become a monster. From 83 through 87, a young British writer named Alan Moore revolutionized the American comic book. His groundbreaking tenure on DC Comics Swamp Thing set new standards for graphic storytelling and touched off a revolution in the medium that's still expanding today. Built on the titles framework of gothic horror with a remarkable intuitive narrative style and unprecedented depth of characterization, Moore's vision was realized through the haunting, beautiful artwork of such collaborators as Stephen Bissett, John Totleben, Dan Day, and Rick Veitch, the result of one of comics' most enduring masterpieces. First of 6 volumes. And just, like I said, my plan was to read 1 or 2 issues. An hour and 20 minutes later, I'm finishing this and going on to Amazon and going, oh, how cheap can I get the rest of these? Okay, do I have enough money this month to go ahead and, out of my entertainment fund to buy the rest of these? Okay, no shit, I can only buy 4. Order. And then they were going to come in, I was going to get 3 before I got 2. I'm like, shit, they all came in the same. 2 came in one day. The rest of them came in the next day. And the thing about it is 2 came in 10 minutes before I left that day. Usually, y'all that watch my channel know, most Saturdays I'm going out to some small town somewhere in Deep South to film wrestling. And getting there early and getting in early, you got time to kill. Once the table's set up, you figure out what you're filming, you got time to kill. Sometimes you sit there and bullshit with everybody. Sometimes you're like, I don't feel like dealing with anybody. Put your earbuds in and read. So I tossed volume 2 into my bag. I ended up not reading it. Read volume 2 and 3 a couple of nights later, and then 4. Let's get into 1 here. That's all. We're going to just focus on 1. I've been going long enough as is. Colors by Tatiana Wood. Letters by John Costanzo, Todd Klein. Original series cover by Tom Yates, Steve Bissett, and John Totleben. Swamp Thing created by Len Wein and Bernie Wright, so I'm glad they give him credit. We got an introduction by Len Wein, 4 by Ramsey. Ramsey came on. These are, now they're still in print. You can get these hardcover, omnibus, these. But the label is DC Black Label because Vertigo does not exist anymore. So this one was probably printed about, let's see, 2012, so 11 years ago. Nice little introduction here. Nice little forward. I don't remember a lot about it. All right. The cool thing about this is most collections before this did not reprint Swamp Thing 20. Because it's basically just wrapping up. It's titled Loose Ends here. And it's just wrapping up the stuff from the previous creative tape. You see, you got Dan Day on pencils, John Toddleben on inks, Moore's writing, Lynn Wein editing, Tajana Wood colors. And I'll give them this. The colors look real close to the way they looked on the original paper. If not, slight bit better. I mean, just look at the gorgeous line work. And all this is Swamp Thing. Like I said, they're just tying up the loose ends from the previous series. Taking care of characters. And I do like how to make the pacing work. They'll throw in a page like that every once in a while. And then we get Abigail Kane, or Abby, and Matt Cable, who become very important real quickly in this. And you find out Matt's married to her. He's kind of a drunk. He's not real good at anything, but he has these spirits that appear to him. It's like women and stuff, and more builds on this. And he kills off a lot of characters. Just look at the panel layouts. I mean, it's just... And this is Dan Day and Toddleben. This is not Bissett yet. Bissett is the one that hates rectangular panels. You'll see that in a bit. Look at the artwork here. Just so good. And this is, considered probably the worst issue of the entire Moore run. And then they just shoot. And it ends with Swamp Thing died. And then we get issue 21, which is February 84, which means it probably came out December of 83. So, December 83 I was 9.5 when I read this. Look at that cover. Every one of these covers, man, and these were Comic Code approved, as you can see, for quite a while. This, basically, they bring in Jason Woodrow, the Floronic Man, to this company that has killed Swamp Thing. I can't remember what their name is. I don't remember anything anymore. To basically dissect, they put him in the deep freeze, and they're going to dissect him and see what's up. And he starts finding out, he goes, well, look, there's things that look like lungs, but they're not lungs. There's, a heart, but it's not a heart. Kidneys are not kidneys. And that's when we find out that, for the whole thing before this Swamp Thing, we always thought, okay, Alec Holland hit with the chemicals, dove into the swamp, came back as a Swamp Thing. No. Alec Holland died. Swamp Thing is a plant elemental that has the memories of Alec Holland, but is not him. And this is when we start the first big storyline. And Swamp Thing learning about himself. Look at that great Jason Woodrow right there. Oh. And let's see, they left the free. Woodrow's pissed off. I can't. Oh, they were not going to let him finish the experiment, so he just leaves the freezer off in Swamp Thing just slowly. And look at this, man. That panel right there. The half Swamp Thing walking on his hands and the red in the eyes. The file on you. Look, I don't know if you read it, that file, but yes, I've read the file. Like it? I'm thinking about the old man. I'm thinking about the cracking in his joints as he runs. I'm thinking of the tear in his ancient atrophy heart. This is building, you see. This is the place where he was safe, and now the blind glass and dispassionate metal mocks him with his own reflection, frightened and small and scurrying, like a beetle in a box, like a worm in a maze. Of course, there's never been any real evidence of Swamp Thing intentionally hurting or killing anyone. The old man shouldn't be in real danger at all, as long as the creature hasn't read my notes. But he's read the notes. And then we get started. Nice Tom Yates cover. And this is when Allie and Von Swamp Thing just lay it out in the swamp. But all this shit growing on him. He's been there for a while. And there's a Floronic Man making himself look human. And what it is, he's using that to connect to the green, because the Floronic Man want to become part of the green. The green is the elemental force of the plants on the earth. Just like the red is for Animal Man, and I'm sure there's a blue and all that. I don't want this to go super well, so I'm just let's check out the art. I'm going to point out some story points that just stand out, like this is him when he's arguing with Alec Holland's skull. And look at this trip. Like I say, I was reading this at 9 years old, and this is some trippy ass art, and it's just going right past me. Like, oh, that's some cool colors. Yeah, did not realizing what I'm looking at. Another Tom Yates cover. And this is Bissett and Toddleben working on it, and this is when he ends up fighting the Floronic Man. Floronic Man takes over LaCroix, south of Thibodeau. That's the other thing with this. That's the other thing that connected me with Swamp Thing, because they're like, Home. I'm like, oh, where's Home, Louisiana? Oh, they're not that far from us. As a kid, I'm thinking, oh, I could actually go see these areas. You know, they're not that far from me, because everything superheroes in New York City, California, Homo's an hour and 2 hours maybe. You know, 2 hours probably back then. I don't know, in 83, I don't know if the interstate was coming through all the way or not back then. Yeah, he takes over this town. And look at this. I mean, just, oh, God. The detail in it. It's gorgeous ass art. No more next roots. And you get the Justice League on here. Like, Alan Moore works the Justice League in because they're seeing what's going on. They can't really do anything about it, so Swamp Thing takes care of it. And it's a big battle. Like, Alan Moore is so good at it. I mean, y'all out there read Miracle Man 15, you know what I'm talking about. You know, and Moore, that's one thing that kind of was missing in Watchmen. You never had that big battle. I mean, you came close, but you never really got it. He ends up winning. And Florana Man's trying to disguise himself. And then this thing, I remember this being used. This panel right here, without that right, being used on all kinds of advertisement. And that ends, your first main storyline. Then we get on this one where Abby's husband gets a job. We get, is that the, God, what's his name? The demon, the one the demon possesses. And this is another Toddleben and it says Bissett and Toddleben. The Sleeper Reason. And she works at a home for like autistic kids and wayward kids. And what we find, and we're starting to see like some odds going on here with Abby's husband, but we're not sure what. And it isn't until maybe a volume 2 later we find out why. This is the one that I just saw recently. This is one that kind of surprised me. It's got the Comic Code approval, July of '84, so right before I turned 10. Just more gorgeous art. Just gorgeous art everywhere. Jason Blood, okay, yeah. I got this naked kid running after her and all these crazy drawings and the Swamp Thing's coming in there. Well, all this is going on. We still got the stuff going on. And look, there's the demon. Yeah, and all these artists, they were huge Kirby fans, so they're going any Kirby thing they could draw. And I love the Burma shave. It was you'd see the billboards, blah 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 Burma shave. It's like an old joke from the 30s, I think. Okay, is 27 the one I'm thinking it is? That's the Toddleben and Bissett again. And I'm thinking, right, this is a very significant issue. We got the fight and all that, and is this when Matt gets in the wreck? I don't remember. I read all these, so yeah, Matt gets in the wreck, and then the fly goes into his mouth, and yeah. I'll leave that for the next one. Now, this is not okay. He becomes human. His story is dedicated all in affection to Jack Kirby. And then we end it with this great piece of art. And that's Swamp Thing. Volume Saga Swamp Thing. I'm pretty sure they've reprinted 1 through 19 in the collection, which you don't have to read. You really don't. I mean, you can. They're cool. There's some good art in them. I mean, Swamp Thing was not bad before Moore got on it. It's just it went from being, kind of your monster comic, your monthly horror monster comic, which is not a bad thing, to being just the next 2 volumes. Moore basically decides to take all the tropes of horror and just twist them, like your vampire trope, your werewolf trope, your haunted house trope, your Lovecraftian existential horror trope. I don't know if there was any body horror Frankenstein in there. I don't remember. But I'll do one of them later. I'm out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, give me 2 thumbs up because it's fucking Alan Moore, baby. Laters!